Go time. I'm Ariel Laguilles. It's 6:35 a.m. on Monday, May 27. Going for the fastest known time attempt on the Camino Ignaciano. Here we go. So the Camino Ignaciano starts in the birthplace of St. Ignatius in Loyola, which is northeastern Spain in Basque Country. And it takes a southeasterly route and ends in Manresa. The whole mileage is about 408 miles total. And it took me 8 days, 12 hours, and 45 minutes to do.
Bienvenido, amigo.
Made it. So we just arrived to Loyola, birthplace of St. Ignatius. This is where the Camino Ignaciano begins. Right behind me is the Santuario of Loyola. So yeah, we're going to be starting bright and early on Monday morning. Going to be the first person to attempt to run the whole Camino Ignaciano from here and finishing in Manresa, right outside of Barcelona. So hoping to do it in about 8 days, around 50 miles a day. So wish me luck. So initially when I decided to run this, for me personally, it was to experience the pilgrimage. It was to experience the Camino Ignaciano. That for me personally was something that I wanted to do, and doing it in my own way, running. Another goal was to help promote it and to get the word out there that, hey, there's this really great pilgrimage option for people to do if that's something they wanted to challenge themselves with. Once I started at the sanctuary of Loyola and just started running on the trail, it was just this really great feeling to be free again and running again, and to have started this crazy idea that had come to fruition on that day. And those first few miles were just exhilarating. How do you feel? Pretty good. Smooth ride, just really wet, but feel strong. So tough part's gonna come up in a little bit.
Ariel and I know each other from childhood, basically. He's 1 year older than I am, so we came to Gonzaga together. He's the class of 1996, I'm class of 97, and then we've worked here at Gonzaga for 15 years together. You know, at a Jesuit school we call it magis, which is a term that means like always striving for more. You know, in other religious traditions, it's the same idea of like self-improvement, and Ariel like embodies that. You know, like he's a dreamer, and when he has a dream, he like goes after it.
Well, day one is complete. 37 miles from Loyola. We started at 6:35 a.m. this morning and made it to San Roman, I think around 4 p.m. today. I felt great. I had Diran on the bike in the beginning accompanying me, so that made the miles tick away. And so the crew did a great job meeting me at all the different stops and making sure I was hydrated and fed.
That's it, man. How many Red Bulls have I had all week?
So my crew in Spain was made up of Augie, who owns Varsity Tours, and then another person that works for Varsity Tours was Diran. And so I had two guys that were with me every day, crewing me. Diran would be on the bike next to me a lot of the times when I was running, and he was the one doing a lot of the uploading on social media and on the Instagram posts. So it was nice to have him accompanying me during the run, just on the bike, and being another person that I could rely on to make sure I didn't get lost.
How's the bike?
Like new, bro. New bike. La Mula 2.0.
As I ran it, each day that passed, I started to see a lot of people were following the run and on social media, and I started receiving a lot of text messages and messages on the Instagram account and on Facebook about, wishing me luck, or people who were really were following and were rooting for me. And
Quick shout out to all the people back home. Thinking about you all.
It was definitely a big thing in our community here at the school, and I think the larger DC community, at least 8th Street, Capitol Hill, areas where he lives, Navy Yard where he works, because of his personality. He's just a loving, affirming, positive person.
every morning I would wake up, we're 6 hours ahead in Spain, so I would check my phone and I would get all of these messages, and it was something that really touched me and inspired me. There were days that were really hard, and mentally and physically I was just hitting a lot of lows.
It's swollen, dude. It's going up the shin.
I know. I can feel it every
step.
Ow. Every step. My ankle didn't start hurting until about halfway through, and it wasn't really an acute injury. I didn't twist my ankle, nothing happened to it. It just, I think from what I learned from being back and seeing a doctor, it was a lot of the downhill running down mountains that affected some of the tendons in the front of the ankle. I can't, even just lifting my foot, the weight of my foot, just it's so tight all up in here. But every time I would stop and meet with the crew, I'd put the leg up, would ice it, wrap it for a little while, and that would give me some relief, and then I'd just get up and start over again. There's a lot of doubt in terms of actually being able to complete this challenge, to complete this run. It's like everything else in my body feels good, except my ankle. A lot of times it was those messages, those short messages that would really inspire me and to really energize me into just getting up and putting the shoes on and start walking and then start running. A mantra I kept saying to myself was expect it and accept it. So it's just know that it's going to hurt and deal with it and adapt to it and keep going. What's interesting about the Camino Ignaciano is that it's a pilgrimage that actually retraces the steps of an actual person that walked the pilgrimage. The Camino Ignaciano is actually retracing and following the footsteps of St. Ignatius. That's something I've been thinking about a lot. During the actual run, there would be moments where I would imagine St. Ignatius on the same path. Thinking about the challenges that he had and going into these towns, that was something that I reflected on a lot in terms of putting in perspective my own pain and suffering. And this idea of consolation and desolation is really something that has sprung out of Ignatian spirituality. This consolation, there's times when things are feeling really good and you want to maintain that, or desolation when you're feeling this suffering.
There was one time when I just heard in his voice that option had opened to him, that he might not finish. I think again, I never looked at it as he's got to finish it for it to be successful, because it's the big thing was that he made it happen in the first place.
Just climbing that last hill to the cave in Manresa, where St. Ignatius spent a year in contemplation, was a huge relief, knowing that I was finished, but also knowing that this was the spot where a lot of the foundational materials of the spiritual exercises were formed. Like, because of this place and because of the experience he had, you know, that's what has made me who I am today. As an educator, as a person, as a runner, I was able to really see how resilient I can be. Looking back and having some time to think about the experience, you know, I've really learned a lot of lessons. Some of those from thinking about the experience was relying on others and your community, how important they are to you. As a runner, I usually do my training alone, and I really enjoy the solitude and that time for myself. But I also saw a lot of value and importance in having others with you. That's something that for me was very valuable in terms of my success on the run, and knowing that I have a community that I'm part of, and many different communities to be a part of, whether it's my school community here at Gonzaga, old high school friends, college, my running community here in the city. Those connections are really important in life to make.